There we go. Welcome everyone to this episode of All Things REI, the Windsor re-up with myself, Tom McCormick, and we got our lovely co-host, Jeremy McGraw.
Jeremy
What's up,
McGraw.
Jeremy? Say what's up.
How are you?
Good. How you been?
Oh, what a busy day today. We had going back and forth on a 7-unit apartment building that I have listed.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully gonna have that wrapped up tomorrow at some point. It's pretty much right there, but we just have to go over a few things. And then I put an offer myself on a potential multifamily property. So I'm excited
Wow.
to see what might happen there as well.
Okay. Is this
How about
another like
yourself?
Ford City? Is this another, before I get in myself, is this another Ford City kind of deal?
Yeah, of course.
King of Ford City. That's Jeremy's
Just adding on,
spot.
just adding on to the frontage.
Yeah, you're just gonna buy the whole strip. For those of you that might not know, Ford City is definitely one of the more up and coming areas of Windsor that used to be honestly kind of sketchy in certain pockets, but now like
It was
then
very rep taped. Even when I started real estate back in 2016,
yeah.
Ford City kind of had a stigma with it. Kind of sketchiness. The banks didn't want, and what I mean by red tape is that the banks, for the most part, did not want to lend there. They didn't feel comfortable.
Hmm.
So most properties had to either be done through B lenders or private lenders or cash. So when I first started, I remember people picking up houses for 20,000 bucks, if that.
Hmm. That's cheap. That's very
Yeah,
cheap. Especially
and
even
they
if
were
that was
rough.
what 2016, even like around then,
Hmm.
like that's pretty bare bones. But now, like, give me an idea of like the prices. I guess I'm kind of already a little
Great
off topic,
question,
but
actually. One of my a good client of mine, repeat client, we put an offer in on a duplex not far from these properties. Um, we were one of four offers maybe 2 or 3 days ago. It was a two-bed, one bath, and then upstairs was a one-bed, one bath, vacant,
hmm.
renovated nicely. It sold at the peak in 2021 for a lot more than it would actually resold for now because obviously the market's changed. We're no longer at an average price around 700,000. I think we'll be at a lower average price, which we'll talk about later.
Hmm.
But to kind of give you an idea, we still had four offers on that property,
Okay, wow.
and we offered well over asking. And we did come in with conditions, however, and that's what kind of hurt us. The property sold for less than our offer, and
But
it
still
sold
over
because it
asking
was
though.
still over asking, but because they went with an unconditional offer. And I always tell my sellers and even my buyers when for example, with the sellers, we always want the cleanest, no condition offer with the most amount of deposit we can get. But for a buyer, when we're going to go in with conditions, we have to stand out because some people go, oh, why do we lose out by 5 or 10 grand? Well, you lost out because you went with conditions.
Mm,
5 or 10,000 for the seller. They don't want to lose that unconditional buyer if someone were to walk away for a mortgage or inspection or anything along those lines.
understood. Yeah. Well, it definitely can get competitive. I can see that now,
It's
especially
it's
with the market.
starting to
There's a lot
pick up
more
a
offers
bit.
coming. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's December right now. The market's starting to pick up a little bit. I think we're gonna have a busy January. I think the springtime's gonna be very, very busy. Um, and there's a lot of reasons why, at least in the Windsor market. I think people are coming back to people are coming back and there's good mindset right now with potentially lower variable rates. Fixed rates seem to be going up or holding stagnant pretty well, but um, it's getting busy again for sure. I'm getting a lot more phone calls.
Right on. No, that's great. That's great. We
How
got
about
some
yourself?
people joining the chat here, just double checking. Things are going well. Things are going well. Actually, as of today, we're actually streaming right now live on Facebook, but also on YouTube. So we're trying to, as we're doing this now, I'm just making sure all the screens are working and working
And
on
this is
any
our first time on
kinks.
YouTube, right?
First time on YouTube, exactly,
Wow.
exactly. So
Okay.
keep an eye out, guys, for that. If you guys want to join our All Things REI YouTube, actually, we should say subscribe to our All Things REI YouTube channel instead of join. You can find us there, and we'll be posting all our lives there, any of our short form content. I'm sure we'll be making some more long form as well, following along on kind of some of the properties that me and Jeremy are working on, or even recaps of meetups and Facebook events. So that's where we also uploaded our latest U.S. investing seminar. We uploaded that as well for your viewing pleasure, where you can kind of learn It's like almost 3 hours that video. We maybe got to chop it up, but it's big, so you can
Yeah,
you can play that at like two
that was a
times
fun
speed.
event though.
Yeah, I think it was a good success. We had a decent turnout, and we got a bunch of people also that tuned in online as well. So it was like a dual event. And shout out to Jeremy. I appreciate you for actually having us at your Remax office. So that was cool. A nice space in the
Mhm.
back there too. Just kind of we had it was like a chill setting with couches and people just hanging out. And then we had the big TV screen with speakers all the way down from Cleveland. We had Manny Haidari. Shout out to him. He came all the way down from Toronto, talking about his contracting experience and flipping and whatnot. And then we also had Lens City come out as well, Scott. So it was a good
That's a
time. It
great
was a good
guy.
time. But yeah, overall things have been good on my side. Just trying to find some next projects. We're working on a couple stuff in the States as well. But we love Windsor, guys. So if you have any projects that are potential flips or buildings that are off market that you want to bring to Jeremy or ourselves, give us a shout. We'd be happy to take a peek and see if we can make something work, because we definitely want to build up this city. And I know that's why you, of course, are building up Ford City. That's the name of the game, making the place where we live better. But
Absolutely.
yeah, that's honestly that's what you got to do. You got to invest back in your community and build deep roots, and especially the fact that you've been here and doing deals for about 10 years, and I've been doing them for almost not quite 5. Like it's nice to have a place where you can definitely invest and continue to build those relationships, and then it's actually easier in the future to do more of those. But I digress. Uh, we got some articles. Do you want to dive into those, Jeremy,
We
today? And
do
then
have some articles.
yeah,
Are they up on the screen right now?
I
I'm
will
seeing
share
Windsor area
those.
to see quite robust
Boom.
2025 growth. Conference Board of Canada.
Yeah,
So we're going to go over. I'm going to bring up the handy dandy Chat GPT, which we have customized now
customized.
to, yeah, to bring us some a little bit of more information and break down this article, because obviously we don't want us to sit there and be boring and read you what the article says. We're going to have Chat GPT kind of in an investor ideology break it down for us. And
You'll
there's
be
going
our
to be a
third
few things that
host.
we like about this. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So basically, what we're seeing is that so we have Windsor Essex economic growth and real estate opportunities in 2025. The Windsor Essex region is on track for significant economic growth in 2025, and this presents exciting opportunity for real estate investors from ChatGPT right here. So he's kind of breaking out the system's kind of breaking it down in a few different things. The one is key drivers for growth. We have the EV battery plant, which actually a good. I was actually with a prior to hopping on this call here. I was with one of my clients who's working at the EV power battery plant right now, and they're almost full steam ahead. And there's so much jobs between here and southwestern Ontario. He's going to be busy for the next, he said, 2 years.
Wow.
So the EV battery plant's a $4.9 billion by the plant by Stellantis and LG Batteries Energy. So LG Energy Solution. It will not only bolster the local manufacturing sector, but also stimulate significant economic activity in the region. He also listed the Gordie Howe International Bridge scheduled to open in 2025. The new bridge will ease cross-border traffic and improve trade efficiency, making Windsor even more attractive for logistics and trade-related industries. That's huge. And knowing about, I want to talk about this bridge really quickly here
Yeah, yeah.
because I'm
Go for it.
excited for it. Because right now, Tom, if me and you wanted to go grab drinks, go catch a Pistons game, one of us would have to probably drive back, which would have to have a DD or have a friend that would not drink because
Hmm.
obviously we want to obey laws. With this new bridge now, because right, you can't, everyone goes, can I Uber from Detroit to Windsor? You can't. Uber won't let you do it.
Yeah.
But you can Uber to this bridge now, walk across the bridge or bike across the bridge, get to the other side, then
Get
Uber
another
home.
Uber. Might be a bit of a process, but I guess it's possible.
It works.
I don't
But
know.
here's the thing. Otherwise, you're gonna be sitting on the phone trying to call taxi cab drivers that are gonna like absolutely take you for a
They'll
ride
charge you
because
through the
uh,
nose. I've had to do it before. I've
I
had
think the
to do it.
most I've ever paid to get home one night was there's a few of us. There was like 5 of us. I think it was $200. Canadian,
Yeah.
American too.
Yeah,
Wasn't
it's
even
just
Canadian.
for a short just drop off. Yeah. Not
So
ideal. Not ideal. But yeah, it's nice
definitely
that the
worth
Gordy.
it.
Yeah, it'll be
And then
worth.
obviously we still have our buses, but I mean, what happens after a certain hour? I think the buses go to about midnight. If you're out a little bit longer, you're having a good time,
Yeah, they
you
just
can
shut her
be
down.
rich.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah, I think it's a
actually.
great idea.
So I didn't mean to cut you off there. I heard they are. This is a side note. They're debating on whether or not to keep some of those bus routes in bus crossings.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, so hopefully they stick around because those are really nice to have, especially when you go to like the Tigers, the Wings games and whatnot. But we'll have to see.
It's huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. And then they've also listed manufacturing investments, including Magna. So Magna's expansion is a $6 million in local mechatronics plant, reinforcing Windsor's reputation as a manufacturing hub. I mean, there's a lot more. There's a few $100 million being thrown around here and
Yeah.
there.
The government
Um,
as well,
number
incentivizing things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number two is employment and housing market. Improving unemployment rates. Obviously, we have one of the highest unemployment rates around, but unemployment in Windsor dropped to 7.8% in 2022 and is expected to decline further to 6.6 by 2023. The lowest is 2019. And then what do we have here? Housing market outlook. Stronger employment will drive housing demand, especially as new jobs attract people to the area. And we also got to remember too, we're very, very affordable for a city. And there's a lot of talks about, I think one of our next articles about LaSalle
Hmm.
will kind of make things a little bit more clear about how we want to grow in size. Windsor, I think, is going to become a very, very big city, and it's a strategic city too, especially with Detroit doing so well right now that we can utilize that to our advantage because we're a strong border city. Obviously, there's going to be potentially some tariffs coming from the new
Yeah.
American administration there, government, but well, it's not out yet. So we're going to go off of what we know right now.
Yeah. We'll go with the flow. We'll go with the flow.
And then the housing market outlook on this. The stronger employment will drive housing demand, especially as new jobs attract people to the area, which is huge. I think I already talked about that. But once again, we don't have enough housing right now. And a lot of these people are going to rent before they buy because they don't know where to go. I mean, they're going to move down, they're going to trust a realtor. They kind of want to figure out which neighborhood they want to be in. And most of them will probably end up just renting for the first year.
Hmm.
Number three is the sector recovery post pandemic, including arts, entertainment, and recreation. Local attractions like Caesars Windsor and the Art Gallery of Windsor are rebounding and supporting the recovery of previously struggling sectors, which is really, really cool. I think the Caesars Windsor brings a lot of people to the Windsor area from the American side because of our dollar right now. It's actually definitely helping us out because basically they can gamble for a lot less. And we constantly see buses out front of Caesars from like Cleveland,
Hmm.
all parts of Michigan, Illinois. They come from quite a few hours away just to gamble here because their money gets stretched so much further.
Especially nowadays with the dollar being like $1.40 to our single dollar. Like
Correct.
the rates have just really pushed the other direction. One thing I want to
So
add to this
number four
article.
on this one right here,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
we
You're
have
probably gonna cover it.
economic projections with GDP growth. The region's economy expanded by 4.6% in 2022, surpassing pre-pandemic levels. This is good to see. While growth is expected to increase at 1.8 to 2.2% over the next 2 years, we can expect a more robust upswing in 2025. And then real estate implications. This is always important. I always want to know as a real estate investor, what should I be looking into more? And increased employment in infrastructure projects are expected to boost demand for homes, including single family, duplex, and multifamily units. With commercial side, manufacturing infrastructure developments will open opportunities for commercial properties, particularly in logistics and support industries. So they're going to say we're going to need more warehousing. And then market dynamics is going to be, well, the outlook is promising. It's important to keep an eye on interest rates and housing affordability to adapt strategies effectively. And in conclusion, Windsor Essex is poised for growth in 2025 with transformative developments and economic recovery for real estate investors. This is a prime opportunity to capitalize on.
Absolutely. And that's why we keep saying we're bullish on Windsor. We just added
Yeah.
from January to October. They were saying they also added 9,300 jobs. So like Windsor's expanding, and we don't have enough vacancy for all these people.
And to
So
keep going on that, I
yeah,
have something that kind of, I think we're going to Oh no,
We got some
we'll
more
just do this
articles
really
here
quickly
too, but
here.
yeah.
So the Stellantis and LG Energy Solution EV battery plant is basically a $5 billion thing right there. We talked about. It's expected to create 2,500 direct jobs and numerous indirect opportunities. The Stellantis assembly plant modernization, obviously, because we're getting the electric the Challenger, and that's a $3.6 billion initiative to upgrade local assembly plants for electric vehicle production, including establishment of 2 research and development centers, adding 650 jobs, and reinstating a third shift operation. Uh, Dongshin Motec Ltd manufacturing facility. That's a $60 million investment to build a 170,000 square foot plant producing specialized aluminum casings for EV batteries, a projected 300 jobs. And then the Gordie Howe International Bridge, which is going to open in 2025. This bridge will enhance border crossing trade and logistics between Windsor and Detroit. So just off of here alone, between those 3 articles, 2,500, 650, that's like 31. Uh, and then probably just under 3,500 jobs just from 3 different things we talked about.
And that's just the three. There's still more and more pouring in. So
Of course.
yeah.
So we'll flip
Speak.
on to the next article
Yeah.
here because I think that's going to be a good one
I
to
think
talk about
this
as
one will
well.
create a lot of jobs as well because this is a $200 million commercial development in LaSalle. Do you want to speak about that one too? Because that's exactly behind
ChatGPT
that
is already
big.
ready to go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So this is going to be
Let's.
a $200 million commercial development, and it's set to transform LaSalle, Ontario, into a vibrant, walkable community. So to kind of give you a backstory of this neighborhood here, I have family that live here. It's actually in between, kind of like LaSalle and South Windsor. Tom, do you want to bring up the Google Maps
I
really quick? We'll
will. I
kind of
will
showcase where
actually.
it's at.
Let's.
And what we're going to do is we're going to type in Windsor Crossing. That's probably our key area right there. So this is we have the premium outlets, which is the Windsor Crossing premium outlets. Um, so we're going to be looking at that Sandwich Parkway West right there. And we're going to see a big empty space to the left of that.
This bad boy
And
right
what we're
here.
going to have with this is it's going to be a $200 million commercial development, and it's going to be in 2 phases. As you can see, if we scroll in a little bit less there, we have the, so a little bit out, maybe a little
Oh,
more.
sorry. Do you want to show St.
All
Clair?
good. Yeah, so we have St. Clair College right there, and that's South Windsor. As you can see, that golf course is Roseland Golf Course. It's a city of Windsor owned golf course, and it's a prestigious neighborhood right there. And then so we're kind of on the cusp of both. It's kind of on the outskirts of LaSalle and on the outskirts of South Windsor, and it kind of is going to bring South Windsor and LaSalle in together. We're calling it LaSalle. Some people treat it as Windsor, but it's pretty much LaSalle. It's going to be a great location, and it's kind of push that South Windsor people more into LaSalle, which will create more and more opportunities because that's a really good area, and you're so close to you're just maybe about 10 or 11 minutes away to the airport. You got Costco, you got Home Depot. Just if you follow that Highway 3 actually merges onto 401,
Mm-hmm.
and then
This would
that
be.
basically will take you right to Walker Road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can just go east, or you could even
Yeah,
take it to the
east.
Gordie
Yeah,
Howe
even
Bridge now.
that Highway 3 right there goes into EC Row and the 401. So it kind of creates a giant U, and then obviously this will actually connect to the new bridge
Mm-hmm.
as well, and it obviously connects to the here on Church Line.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's in a great location, and LaSalle's also
Absolutely.
always popping off. LaSalle's actually a bit more, for those that might not know that are kind of joining this, uh, LaSalle's a more like B to A, definitely A class neighborhoods versus
It's
some other
I would
areas
consider
in
it to be one of the 2 best locations besides St. Clair Beach / Russell Woods.
definitely, yeah, some
So
definite nice
LaSalle's
A locations because the only other
anything being built in LaSalle right now is premium. You're probably about $1 million plus starting at. Most of those $1 million is going to be around townhomes
mhm,
or semi-detached, and then detached homes. You're probably going to be well over $1 million easily for fun. And it's a great neighborhood, lots of premium golf
yeah.
courses.
LaSalle
It's a
police is great.
newer
It's
area
safe.
that's been recently built up, and that's the thing. When you have an area that's basically brand new, um, you can work with it, right? It's going to draw a bunch of new people in there, but
Mhm.
it's a competitive market. It's a great place to raise family. And then once again, you're close to both bridges. You're close to South Windsor. Basically, you're being in an area like that. You can pretty much be anywhere in the city within like 10 minutes, which is great. So to kind of give you an idea, going back in, we'll kind of scroll back into that.
Yeah, talk about maybe
Um,
really quick what kind of
yeah,
developments
we're
are
gonna break
being
down what
added.
we're gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a couple things that you're gonna see there. It's going to be split into, I think, two phases. We're looking at seeing a food basics, a Shoppers Drug Mart, a Dollarama, McDonald's, a PetSmart, a Tim Hortons, Taco Bell, and an Osmo Shawarma. So those are some of the anchor stores that are going to be kind of anchoring that plaza there.
You know,
And
long-term
then I believe
tenants.
with phase two, it's going to be a boutique hotel, from what I'm being told. The second phase will be a 100,000 square foot space featuring a major brand hotel to accommodate both overnight and long term guests. I guess that has to do probably closer because it's close to the St. Clair College, so sports teams and stuff coming in, family coming in for that. But basically, it's going to be a great location. Um, it's definitely an area. If I were to myself move, I would definitely consider that area because what I like about it's LaSalle, so you're gonna have cheaper taxes in Windsor. You're gonna have newer homes in those neighborhoods, and the fact that you can be 2 minute drive or maybe a 10 to 15 minute walk to a grocery store, your Shoppers Drug Mart. You have McDonald's and Tim Hortons, which if
You
sugar
know, it's serious
coffee
when
you
you have a
like
Tim
more.
Hortons.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then the fact of it is too, it's in a. We always have a location,
Yep.
and the fact that you're right off of 40, right off of Highway 3, which will connect to both EC Row and 401, making you be able to. It's a smooth transition to pretty much any part of the city you need to be go to. So, that's going to be a $200 million development, and I'm excited to see that. From what I was told by my parents, they've already started to break ground on it, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's huge. Let's go to the next one.
And then
So
what do
we
we have for the third
yeah,
article?
we go from a bit of glam and glitz with all the cash flowing around, and then we get hit with this some poor conditions on some Windsor rental units. Pretty horrible. Do you want to talk about that?
Uh,
Because I know you've seen your fair share of student rentals. I know I have, but
oh. So in
this
my
is
8+ years of being a realtor, it's a lot better than it used to be. When I first started as a realtor, I used to have some clients in Windsor. Student rentals were because this is basically affecting wards 1 and 2, which is going to be South Windsor,
and
kind
that's
of
where we
what
had the
we were just
landlord
chatting about because
licenses.
there's obviously St. Clair College, and then wards 2 being the university area, right? So they kind of focusing on those because of the conditions and the fact that we have some uh, students living 20 to 30 people in a basement apartment, which is crazy to think about.
It's nuts.
I can't even live with a roommate. I live alone in my condo, but I couldn't imagine living with 20 other people in like a 900 square foot bill, if a 900 square foot unit. So basically, this is the city of Windsor's 2 year residential rental license in the what we're going to call the RRL pilot study initiated in February of 2023 aims to enhance the safety and quality of rental housing in wards 1 and 2. Recent inspections have uncovered substandard conditions in several rental units, highlighting the necessity of this program, which is true. Trust me, I've walked into houses where I've had investors look at me. Once again, this is back when we were slumlord capital. It was terrible.
Yep.
We'd have a guy, one of the investors, and these are no longer my clients. That's why I'm only talking about this. Is I'd have a guy look at me and go, it'd be a sunroom, and he'd be like, "Can I turn this into a bedroom?" Like, no, there's no heat
Hmm.
in this room. Like, it's a sunroom. You need to have it. No, or it'd be a closet. He'd be like, I could throw a bed in there. It's like, well, there's no window, right? So we just some people are just getting treated poorly, and then some people they've owned these properties for a while. Maybe it's just
They get it,
shady
let it
conditions.
get
There's got properties get
yeah.
beat up, and they're just it's substandard, right? And it's just like how much people can I put into a unit to make as much money
Yeah,
as
just looking at
possible,
the
right?
bottom dollar. Yeah. Really quick
Yeah,
before you
and
get
that's just
further
not what
into
we want.
the really quick before you get more into the article, just showing everyone wards 1 and ward 2. So it's your West Windsor, like west of the Ambassador Bridge, and then also basically just the
This is great.
prime university area. So uh, I actually don't know
It
the
goes pretty
cutoff.
much, I think, right up to yeah, well, right up to Wellington. Wellington's the first street that doesn't
Yep.
is not part of it.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
So this is where the
So
pilot project for the landlord licensing is, and eventually they're not saying it necessarily, but it probably will spread throughout Windsor. But this is the pilot project at this point in time.
yeah, and
Yeah.
by the sounds of it, I mean, we'll probably talk about a few things regarding this right now. So
Yep.
severe property standards violations. Inspectors discovered issues as inadequate maintenance, safety hazards, and non-compliance with building codes. Um, what non-compliance with building codes means is pretty much a lot of that stuff's going to be like illegal basements. A lot of people are shoving like 3, 4 bedrooms down there. You need to have, I think, with a grandfathered in property, probably 6 foot, 6'8", I think is
Yeah,
basement
6 foot
height.
8 is the
Six foot
minimum
five,
requirement, and
and
it's
then six
six
foot
foot
five
for
under ductwork.
5 for ductwork. Correct. Yeah,
So, and then new builds have to be what, 7 feet or
I believe
somewhere.
they ask you for 7 feet, but I feel like they're pretty lenient with ADUs. So if you did like
Yeah,
a, I guess
6'8".
technically if you did an ADU, that would be grandfathered in though, because it's an existing structure. So you're right. It probably is by code. Just make it 7 foot, and then you'll have no issues. Even if you had ductwork, you don't have to worry then.
Of course.
Yeah.
Health and safety concerns. Some units exhibited conditions detrimental to tenant well-being. The amount of mold and poor sanitation,
Yeah, they got
it's
no
just
ventilation
fire
down there.
hazards.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can only imagine. Implications for real estate investors. Regulatory compliance. These people are making it bad for us because it's the bad apples that ruin it for everyone else, right? So
Correct.
investors must ensure properties meet all safety and maintenance standards to comply with the RRL bylaw and avoid penalties. Market reputation, maintaining a high quality rental units enhances reputation and attracts reliable tenants, contributed to sustained occupancy rates and operational costs. Proactively addressing property issues can prevent costly repairs and legal challenges associated with noncompliance. So the program detail rental licensing is for owners of properties with 1 to 4 residential units in wards 1 and 2 must secure a residential rental license for each unit.
Mm-hmm.
Rental application process. Property owners are required to complete an application form, confirm ownership and insurance, provide a local contact, and demonstrate compliance with building, fire, and electrical safety standards. Enforcement timeline. The city empathizes education and voluntary compliance. However, enforcement actions are focusing on unlicensed properties commencing after the initial compliance period, which is now. Legal considerations. Bylaw challenges. Some landlords have contested the RRL bylaw, arguing it exceeds municipal authority and imposes undue burdens.
They're saying there's
However,
overreach, and I like to say
as
here
of
too.
March 2024,
Okay, go ahead.
the Ontario Superior Court upheld the bylaw's validity, allowing the pilot study to proceed. So they've lost in court, and it now is going to probably go more into effect shortly. I would say that because of the court case, the pilot, in my thought process, is the pilot's probably going to be extended before they add on, but I would say they're going to probably continue the pilot for a little bit more.
Most
The
likely.
RRL pilot study underscores Windsor's commitment to improving rental housing standards. Real estate investors should prioritize property maintenance and regulatory compliance to align with municipal efforts to ensure tenant safety.
Mm. Yeah. So it sounds like we're not surprised here by any means. A lot of
No,
these places
no,
are
I've seen some
under.
really nice stuff,
Yeah.
and I've seen some really horrible stuff. And I mean, it goes a bit further too, because anything with 4 different last names is considered a boarding house. If you have like a 4 bedroom unit and you have 4 different people living there, it's a boarding house. And the city's cracking down on that as well. It's basically zoning violation to having that. So there's a lot of things to take into account, and this has affected a lot of people because at this point you need to now to give you an idea, we're so Trudeau's now basically canceling a lot of the student visas we have and cracking down on that.
Mm-hmm.
So the amount of students that we had coming in, especially from like countries like India, are going to be cut down, which a lot of these properties, unfortunately, were kind of catering because it's the lowest hanging fruit, right? And um, a lot of these properties that are not meeting code are going to have to spend a lot of money to get the code, and then they're going to lose probably half their income because they're going to have a basement unit rentals, which are now pretty much illegal if they don't have the proper height, which most of them don't.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact of it is they're going to have more than for them the cash flow. They're going to have more than 4 people live there, which legally, once again, they cannot do.
Yeah, it's like a catch-22, and that's why a lot of these people pushed back these landlords, and I get why, because it seems like he was going after the little guy, anything under 4 units, right? So
Correct.
one other thing to note is it's a little bit unclear as to what necessarily has to be fixed or corrected because it's going to be a yearly inspection and a yearly fee. So depending on the
It'll
inspector, you
be
could
Ontario
have.
building code, and then I've had a few clients go through them, and like once again, I love working with people that actually obey the rules and
Yeah,
stuff, and everyone wants to be one
do it
step ahead,
properly from the
right? They want to be
get-go.
in a position. Yeah,
Yeah.
so ESA, once again, just making sure everything's up to date. You're grandfathered in for the most part on a lot of different things, but they're gonna want to make sure that you meet today's code to a certain degree, right? And then
Hmm.
obviously the Ontario Building Code, standard heights for the basements.
Yeah.
Um, you don't have mold, like they're looking for that kind of stuff right
Yeah,
there. Like
common
they're looking to
safety
make sure.
things. I think initially though is what I was trying to say. It was kind of unclear as to what was really required, and now that it's kind of gone through the process, people are realizing it's not necessarily so bad. It's just like you said, the money component. Do they really have the
Yeah.
funds available? Because some of these people, if it's already run down, maybe the reason is because they couldn't afford it. So
So
it's going to be tough
here's
to actually
something as
bring it
well
back.
to know for our listeners. If you have a property in this area, I believe there's quite a few inspectors that are actually, I think Matt Abram, he's a good inspector that I've used in the past. I believe he mentioned that he does what's called these pre-inspections or inspections for the rental licensing, right? So he has a checklist of what needs to be done to code,
Hmm.
and he tells you what you kind of probably need to do. He doesn't quote you out because that he's not a electrician, he's not a plumber, right? But he'll say, hey, this needs to be looked at, this needs
Some
to be
like
looked at,
glaring, blatant issues.
and then basically, so you at least have something to work off of,
Hmm.
which is kind of cool. I think that's a great idea,
Yeah, that way
and
you
it
don't
helps
have any
investors
like big scares. Yeah.
for sure, right? Because the last thing you want is you to spend some money and then find out that you're now delayed further because you missed something, right?
Hmm. You
So
know,
what's our next article?
I was going to say, yeah, speaking of permitting process and licenses,
Oh God.
Kingsville's now implementing a new short term rental bylaw. So this is
Oh,
happening all across Ontario, at least that I'm aware of, where a lot of cities are cracking down on Airbnbs. And it's unfortunate because this is one of the few ways that landlords or real estate investors right now can make money without having to worry about the landlord tenant board.
correct. And
Right.
this is the issue. So basically, I think Kingsville's done it pretty well. They're not as tough as some other cities because they are a county area. They're a wine country. They're the epic wine country area, and they know they need tourism, right? So I think that they're more open
Hmm.
to short-term rentals. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about that. So the town of Kingsville has enacted a bylaw to regulate short-term rentals, STRs, aiming to address the community concerns and establish clear operational standards. Key provisions of the bylaw: definition of a STR is a property rented for 28 days consecutive or less, including bed and breakfasts, hotels, motels, and inns. Licensing requirements: operators must obtain an annual license, which necessitates a fire inspection, a criminal record check, and proof of insurance. Um, Determined by the number of bedrooms and common areas with a maximum of 10 occupants. So that's the occupancy limits. Distance separation. So basically, a minimum of 300 meters between licensed short term rentals, with exceptions for those in the downtown STR area. And then parking requirements mandates on site parking with specific exceptions, once again, with the downtown area. So I think they're kind of focusing more. They want to have it more spread out, probably because there's quite a few of them maybe on the waterfronts, and that's where you're going to find the most amount of issues as people throwing parties in some of these units, right? So they kind of want to spread them out so they're not as close to each other. Obviously, downtown's gonna be hard to do. That's
Hmm.
where all the nice restaurants and restaurants and shopping is. So they're probably gonna keep it more there. And I think with the Kingsville, that applies to like areas like Colchester, because it's like that Essex County area in general. A lot of it lines up without the areas you want to go to are kind of more in that Kingsville area.
Absolutely. Yeah, Kingsville's a great
So
spot if you haven't
implications
visited.
for investors: compliance obligations. Investors must adhere to licensing, safety inspections, and operational standards to legally operate a short-term rental. Market impact: by the bylaw aims to balance short-term operations with housing availability, potentially affecting property values and rental income. Operational costs: compliances may incur additional expenses, including licensing fees, inspection costs, and insurance premiums. Community considerations, including addressing concerns that the bylaw responds to issues such as noise, safety, and housing affordability, seeking to mitigate negative impacts on residents. and enforcement mechanisms. A 24/7 complaint hotline will be established to handle violations, ensuring accountability and prompt response.
So how do you feel about this personally since you're an Airbnb owner? Are you concerned? Because I know you've run a couple
I
like,
run, yeah. So we're not going to talk about mine because of the Windsor issues.
mm,
But anyways, here's what I think about short-term rentals right now. If I was to get into it, I would be very, very picky on my areas. I'd look at places like this, which now have rules and regulations in place, like Kingsville.
mm-hmm,
This is good to see because Airbnb for the longest time has been operating in a gray area. And for the most part, we didn't know what was going to be shut down if we were to be shut down or if we were breaking the law. And especially now with Trudeau, who recently came out and posted this article on Twitter here or X.
just
There are more than
yesterday.
200,000 short-term rentals across the country, like Airbnbs and VRBOs that could be turned into housing.
Yeah.
So we're giving cities more resources. And by more resources, I looked into this. $50 million to create a task force is in with the cities that crack down on illegal Airbnbs. And that's not just the beginning. They're also looking with CRA. CRA basically says that if you don't have a proper license to run a short-term rental,
That's huge.
you can actually not um, do your write-offs. Like for
Yeah,
example,
you'll get
all
capital
your
gains on if you try to sell because of
you
business,
get
right?
capital gains on a residential property, correct? Yeah, 13% on the sale price. So a lot of these people that are doing Airbnb are just trying to get by. They bought a property, the market turned, and they're just trying, and the mortgage rates went up, and they're just trying to survive. And it sucks to be that person because, for example, I know someone that has a multi-million-dollar house in Toronto because it's Toronto, right? And they have this house, they're not, they can't sell it because they bought it for a lot of money. Well, guess what? If that house is a few $1 million and you have to pay HST on the sale price, which is 13% of that 1 million, 2 million, $3 million property,
Mm-hmm.
and now you can't write off your expenses like your maid services. You can't write off all the coffees or whatever you provide the people staying there. You might be making no money again, and it sucks because there for people that are doing Airbnb, a lot of them are doing it. The Airbnb arbitrage will be it'll be that one's going to be probably gone. Those people will move on to another city. But the people that are doing it just to survive, it's going to hurt. And not only that, too, it's going to hurt investors in general because there's more supply that are going to come back to the market where you have people just trying to survive and they will need to get their property rented, which will
Right.
create more opportunities for tenants. But for the other investors for example, in the Windsor Essex County area, you're going to see probably a few hundred more units go back onto the market as rentals.
Potentially, potentially. I want to say one thing though. It's laughable that Justin Trudeau is saying that the short-term rentals are the cause of our housing crisis, or one of the causes, right? It's because
Yeah, like
he and his liberals
immigration.
failed to create housing. They had a they've put all this funding in, all these millions of dollars, and they've built literally a handful of houses with some of their funds. And then
We,
obviously the immigration thing, like you said, Jeremy, that's
it's a little
huge
too
too.
late.
It's a
Yeah.
little too late, and he's trying to pass the buck off wherever he can, blaming students, blaming this, blaming that, when it falls directly on his shoulders. Why we're in this mess. But
Yeah, I mean, our economy, don't get me wrong, our economy was so built up on the GDP of immigration and housing. He didn't want to do anything. And who knows what the other party would have had. But right now, what we know is we have a leader in power that is looking at something right now. And you got to remember, too, election season is happening in the next
mhm,
2025, I believe, right?
correct. Yeah,
And
he's trying to get some more
60
votes back this
I
way.
believe, if I'm not mistaken, 60% of Ontario people are renters. He's going to
Mm,
cater to whatever. And who is more aligned with the liberals right now? It's for the most part not going to be a business owner or
correct.
a an
It's the
investor,
immigrants,
right?
and then yeah, the people who are paycheck to paycheck, getting the handouts, the GST rebates for your groceries. By the way, your groceries already have GST not added, so you're not really going to see difference.
Because we know with somebody else, those might be cut, right? So
Right.
he's going to try to play his hand
Mhm.
with people that would still vote for him.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I think with
It's good.
Airbnb, I think there is I believe in licensing. I think it's a great idea. From what I've seen, I know people might not agree with me. This is a hot
It's a hot
topic,
take.
but just
Yeah.
having seen other people's properties, and I even go through Airbnb once in a while to see what my competition is, and I'm like, how are you operating? It doesn't make any sense to me, right? And it's not fair to invest like myself because now I have to be competitive against that property because for some people, especially in the Windsor market, we don't. It's not like we're having um, people coming down that want to spend hundreds of dollars a night. They don't. They want to spend 50, $60, right? They
Hmm.
don't want to spend a lot of money. So we're undercutting ourselves, and those people are undercutting their product
It's a
because their
race to the
product
bottom
sucks.
almost. Yeah.
It's a race to the bottom, right? And it hurts everyone. So
Hmm.
what
Yeah,
else,
we'll have to
what do
keep
we have now?
update on that. I think
I think we
that's about
have
all the
the numbers now.
articles. I think that's about it. But we can go into your MLS stats and
Let's do
explain kind
that.
of how Windsor and the Essex County area is doing. Let's
I like it.
go here. Bada bada boom. I zoomed in on your on this one. I think this is the main one you like to view, right?
Yeah, the residential market activity. So obviously we're not talking too much about commercial because that's just a whole. There's just so much
That's a
mechanics
whole
with that.
different ball game. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, we had for monthly listings, we had for 2024, we're looking at 846 compared to 2023, where we had 809 for the month. We're up 4.57. That's not it's not good, it's not bad. Obviously, more it just means we have more properties on the market, especially when you're talking, 800 of them. There's
Mm-hmm.
an extra what 30 something house 37 houses on the market compared to last year.
Yep.
Sales are up thankfully 9.47. This was something that we've been kind of watching. We had it was kind of pretty stagnant for a while, but now we have 370 sales for the month compared to 338. So we're up 9.47, which is great. And an average sale price of $584,452. I like that because compared to 2023, we were at 529, 538, up 10.37%. And I've noticed I'm starting to see more and more expensive houses sell, and it's going to start increasing those numbers up. I think we're probably going to stagnate around this high fives and probably push towards a six.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're going to kind of be around there for the next little bit. And then obviously median sale price. This is kind of what determines where we always use average, but at the end of the day, what sells the most? It seems to be houses around that
That's
541,000
that sweet
mark.
spot right now for sure. Because
That's a
anything
sweet
above
spot.
that is kind of just stagnant from that
And
six or seven hundred
wow, up
thousand.
17.61% compared to last year, 460,000. Wow. So year to date, we have 11,139 listings compared to 10,009. Once again, it's more listings, more supply. It's 11.29%. So it's more listings on the market. And then for sales, 4,806 compared to 4,670, up 2.91%. That's good to see. We want to see more sales.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of showcasing that the market is starting to pick up. And their average sale price for the year, 577, 867, which once again up 3.43% compared to last year, which was 558, 682. And then obviously the median sale price, 535. So once again, nothing it's pretty as you can kind of see they're pretty straightforward this year. Our month is kind of lining up with that, but compared to last year at 510, we're up 4.9%. That's very very good to see.
Right.
And
So
we'll probably start seeing that median sale price start to kind of push up to maybe that mid five mark.
right. So explain to me like treat me like in five. How do you see the market? Because maybe some people's eyes glaze over with the numbers. What's kind of the market looking like right now? We know
We have
as
more
it gets colder,
listings,
it's getting
but we're
slower.
having more sales. And normally my December's pretty slow. My December's been pretty busy so far right now. We are starting to see people coming back into the market, prepping to buy in January or February, and get ahead of the rush. But I think we're going to have a busy January, February, just because there's a lot more people hearing. And this is the
Mm-hmm.
thing is a lot of people just hear that mortgage rates are going down.
Potential
They don't
interest
understand
rate
it's
drop again
variable, not
December.
fixed. So can you do me a favor? Can you go to can you Google 5 year bonds,
Let's do that.
the Canadian 5 year bond? Because this is where our fixed rate comes. And I want to see how our fixed rate's looking right now. So obviously we know that our variable rates are going down. We want 5 year, yep, government bond. So this is good. I mean, we've been kind of volatile with our 5 year bond. Um, if we can get the chart going there over the last little bit. Um,
There you go.
there we go. So if we go back to, can we change that to 7 days? Yeah, maybe go 1 month. Let go 1 month.
Okay.
Sorry,
We'll go through all the trades.
I'm a few seconds behind.
No,
So
you're
let's
good.
go to that November when it's right at the peak. So this was November 21st. We were at 3.29. So basically, just around the same number. Well, what was it? 0.3% higher. And that is what affects your fixed rate. So as you can see, if you were to lock in November 21st, your mortgage could have been hypothetically almost around zero point 0.3 higher than it is right now. And this has kind of been going, it kind of shot up a little bit, kind of made a little triangle, and now it's kind of going back down. Um, but to my honest opinion, and once again, I'm not a guy that works for the government. I don't know what's going to happen, but my thought process is we've kind of hit the bottom
Hmm.
for fixed rates. So I'm going to say our fixed rates are going to be around that 4.5, give or take. Obviously, for investors, maybe high fours, but I kind of don't see our fixed rates going down. People are talking about, oh, we're going to have rates, at 2 or 3% again. I don't think so. Especially with Trump coming to power, our dollars gonna be worthless in my opinion, which
Hmm.
will our Canadian 5-year bonds probably gonna go
For
back
sure.
up for a bit.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's coming down, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Actually, I like seeing this, so maybe in the future we can just check this out really quick as well, because I don't think people
It's
really
really good
understand necessarily.
it's really good to utilize for our mortgage. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I don't think people really realize why or what's causes our mortgages to change. Sometimes they think
I
just the
want to
Bank of
say it's
Canada or the
usually
banks
this plus
dictate it.
1.5 tends to be the mortgage rate, if I'm
Yeah,
not
that
mistaken.
makes sense because that would put us around that 4% mark or
Mhm.
high or kind of mid fours. I think that's about it. Do you have any other things that you want to talk about for the stats for the Windsor market right now? Because, like you said,
Yeah,
there's more
let's take a look.
listings
Let's
and
see
it's
what's
getting a
hot.
little
If
bit
we go back
busier.
to that sheet there, and then we'll go slide a little bit more left. Let's see what kind of houses have sold. So number one being bungalow, we sold 81 at the average sale price of 472,089. A bungalow tends to be your older wartime houses, probably no basement. Ranch, those tend to be the newer style homes with the nice basements. And as you can see, we sold 66 of those, and the price difference between a bungalow and a ranch is probably what, $207,000. So average sale price of a ranch 679,826. Two-story being the number three at 62 sales, and that's at 741. Obviously, two stories going to be a larger above grade, smaller basements, but a larger square footage above grade. And then 1.5 stories being 43 sales for 477. These are your wartime 1.5 story homes, and then raised ranch 34. I've always wondered why raised ranches are because we have so many of them, but the average sale price is 629,615.
And tell me about
Really
that
cool to
price
see.
range in that kind of 600 to 800 price range. Those are kind of stagnating right now. Can you kind of dive into why that is? Because I know there's like new builds you can also buy for cheaper or just
Yeah,
as
I mean,
nice.
here's the thing. I mean, the wealthy, so basically a million plus, those move because those people are not really worried for the most part about $1 million house. I mean, it's different in Toronto when the average an average very nice house is going to be around 5+ million. So in an area like Windsor, if you have someone making two good incomes of maybe like $500,000 combined, $1 million is kind of a drop in the bucket to them, right? So that's the average. I say an average really nice house right now, even a new build, you're 1.2 to 1.5 million. You
Mm-hmm.
could go 2 to 3 million. And I've seen some beautiful houses in the 2 million to 3 million range that have recently sold. They're stunning homes. Um, but
Yeah,
these
that's
are
like the
like
Russell Woods
estates
area.
pretty much. Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. Even in the county with large acreage, there's some beautiful homes there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a six to 800,000. That's going to be your mid working class, and that's where we're going to start seeing a little bit of a stagnation because for most of us, that's two incomes. Maybe to get an $800,000 mortgage, I think you're going to be around 250, maybe just under 300,000. That's without expenses, and
That's
that's
tough.
without any, without kids, without car payments.
And I
Because usually at
believe,
that point, if you have someone making like, a buck, $150,000 a year between each, most likely they're going to be driving nicer cars,
mm-hmm.
right? And we're starting to see some of these car payments, $1,500 a month, right? So when you have two car payments around that, you're burning $3,000 a month that
Yeah, they
hurts
don't
your
have the
mortgage.
disposable
So
income for anything else. And I think
yeah,
we talked about this earlier, but the median or the average kind of household income for two people in Windsor, since we're more kind of that blue collar area, is below 100,000, right?
yeah, I think
I
it's about 80,000, but that's
yeah.
Windsor in general. But
Hmm.
I would say the average blue collar family right now is doing about 120,000 combined income.
Okay, maybe a little bit higher. So even
Yeah,
that
but
120 is still not quite
$120,000
going to cut it
combined
for that.
income
Yeah.
that's gross. So I mean, after taxes, you're lucky to get 80,000, right? Plus, you got to have most likely have kids,
Hmm.
and
And that
that's
eats
going
up
to
a lot
hurt you
too.
there, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you're really making no money at the end of the day. So it's a tough market right now. That 6 to 800,000. I flipped the house there honestly, unless I have a really, really, really good house at this point, and I go above and beyond, it's definitely a very hard market to flip in,
Hmm.
because there's so many houses in that range right now for sale because some of the new builds are going to be pushed into that price point. You're going to have some nice neighborhoods, but they're just dated, or you might have some pretty decent neighborhoods. And they're renovated to the nine, so buyers are going to have the opportunity to
They
kind
have
of figure out
all
what they
the
really
choice
want.
in the world.
That's
All the choice.
probably, as you can kind of see, the median price point being 541. So anything kind of above that 541, you really got to push a nice product. And then anything in that 300,000, if you by twos, I mean high twos, fixture uppers, anywhere across Windsor, and then 300,000, maybe 350 will get you a nice starter home right now. And
Yeah.
those are competitive markets. A
Hmm.
duplex, maybe mid fours, 400 to 450.
Interesting. Yeah, if you guys have any questions about the market or you want to sell your house or buy some investment properties, hit up Jeremy. He knows what he's doing. He knows Windsor Market like the back of his hand. He's been doing it for almost 10
Thank you.
years. That's a little plug for you. Um, I
And
think,
then yeah, I think Tom, I want to probably just say one last thing here.
sure, go ahead.
I'm gonna ask you. Remember, what are we doing together? We're trying to buy houses in Windsor, Essex County, right? Regardless of condition. Me and Tom are always looking for anything multifamily flips, you
Hmm.
name it. If you could find something, we're happy to pay you.
Yeah, finder's
Uh,
fees.
and are we talking about our new little thing here? Or are we gonna hold off on that for a bit?
I think we can kind of bring it up and mention. I think that's a great point. So Jeremy and I have been talking with another investor, and we're working on actually being able to supply materials to all of Essex County, and we're talking good quality materials at cheap and affordable prices that are very competitive for the market. So Jeremy and I had actually a chance to look at the materials, touch it, and feel it with our own hands, and we're getting our price lists organized right now. But I guess Jeremy, what do you think about those? Like, we saw some flooring the other day. What do you think about those? Those are some nice
Oh
vinyl.
man, I've probably bought 23,000 square feet of flooring this year in general to kind of give you an idea. So, one of the conversations we had was, what do I pay? Because I shop around, I try to get the best price point. There's people
Absolutely,
that get prices better than me because they're doing new developments
huge
and
in
they can get
bulk.
it for a lot
Yeah.
cheaper. Yeah, and where I'm kind of buying maybe 2 to 5 thousand at a time. But that's something we talked about too. Is like, what about those bigger guys that we can maybe offer them better discounts?
Hmm.
But yeah, so I mean, the flooring that I normally get could be anywhere from about $1.80 to 200 $2.50 depending on the quality I use.
Hmm.
Um, basically, was it 6.5 millimeter plus under padding, which is really really nice.
Hmm.
Stuff like that kind of goes if you go to Rona, and if you're a person starting off and you don't know where to really look, you're not going to get the discounts that we're getting. And once
Hmm.
again, like I said, there's discounts. I have builders getting. Like I look at their price points, I'm like, man, that's a crazy price point. But
Yeah.
that's the thing is all it comes down
The
to
quantity of the
who
scale
you know
commands a
and how
lot of
much you're
power.
buying, right? But we're going to be able to offer, I think, scalable. For example, like flooring, we can offer maybe a few thousand square feet for prices that where you would pay maybe $4.50 a square foot
Hmm.
at places like Rona, Home Depot. And then
Yeah.
if you were to get a good discount, maybe at a specialty shop, you might be paying three something.
Hmm.
We could probably get that down even lower, which is nice. So we're just trying to
Absolutely.
figure out price points, see what make it work.
Hmm.
And then obviously I have a few projects that I'm working on that I
Yeah, use
wouldn't
it for
mind
your own.
throwing it in,
Absolutely.
testing it out.
I think it'll be a great proof of concept if you test it out yourself. And then beyond flooring, there's going to be a couple other things I'll be able to actually add on as well. So if you need per se doors, we'll be able to probably provide those and a couple other things. But primarily right now, we got floors, and we'd be happy, even if you're not like a large contractor, because I know a lot of people are just regular investors, and that's totally fine too. Or if you're even just thinking of remodeling your
And
own
we'll
personal
drop ship
home,
it too, right? Right
yeah,
to your address, which
we'll
is
we'll
nice.
actually ship it, so we'll deliver. And I think that's really nice too, because you don't have to load up your van or your truck at Lowe's or Home Depot. I know they deliver too, but we can deliver to your project, and at affordable prices. So stay on the lookout for that. We are really excited about providing that information, and we potentially will actually have a location where you can physically come in and feel and touch and look at the materials yourselves, and we'll get that all set up as well. So that's really cool. Great point, Jeremy. I'm bringing that up, but I think once we know more, we can actually maybe have a little symposium, and we'll explain what it's all about. And maybe we'll have a kind of get together where anyone can come and see the materials as well, kind of a grand opening per se. So
Yeah,
that'd be great.
So that'd be great.
But before we sign off too, I just want to reiterate, we had a great U.S. investing seminar and an in-person meetup, and it was a live online. So we put that on our All Things REI YouTube channel. So if you guys don't know, I'm going to share my screen once again. So we now have a YouTube channel, guys. So go over to All Things REI on YouTube and subscribe, because that's where we're going to be uploading all our meetup recaps. Here's our U.S. investing seminar that we hosted at Jeremy's Remax office. And then even here, you're seeing right now, we're currently streaming live to YouTube, like we said at the beginning. So you can see some YouTube inception right there.
How cool is that?
So now we have a place where you can have everything documented and see our previous lives. And so you won't have to scroll through Jeremy or my feed on Facebook. We'll still stream to Facebook, obviously, into the All Things REI Facebook group. So please join us over there so you can be informed with any new meetups or live events, property tours, all that jazz. So just wanted to let you guys know we now have a YouTube channel. So go over and subscribe, and then stay tuned for some other content too, because Jeremy and I are definitely ramping up our videos, and we're going to have some more stuff applicable to Windsor and just general real estate investing, so we can educate you guys and provide as much value as possible. And if you guys can think of anything that you want to learn about or that you want to see, please tell us, reach out to us, drop it in the comment, and we'll be happy to make a video about that or do a whole live topic on it, or even like Jeremy and I are planning to do, bringing in a guest. So
yeah,
I know this is information packed right now, guys, but next Wednesday, we're having Alan Abbas on for a nice interview podcast. And he's a local wholesaler and real estate investor himself. But we're going to be doing more of those live interviews and bringing people who know what they're talking about and aren't just talking a big game. They actually know what they're talking about and can provide a lot of value. So, and I think that's kind of what I wanted to bring up. Sorry, I stole the show for a bit there. But
no,
I think we need to.
Yeah, so that's going to be, I think, but December. Let me bring my calendar up here. Is it December 10th?
December 11th, 7 p.m.
11th.
So normally when we go live, it's usually around 7 p.m. because that's just after dinner time. So we'll post an event up, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll stream live to Facebook and YouTube with Alan's interview, and that'll be sweet to see. I'm looking forward to that a lot. And if you guys want to be also interviewed yourselves, reach out to us, because we're always looking for guests now, and we're going to have to start ramping that up as well, and that makes our life easier. If you have something you want to talk about and you're an investor and you have some value to provide, let's do an interview together.
I like it.
Sweet. All right, guys. I think that's about it. We're going to sign off for now, but I appreciate everyone who joined or will eventually watch this in the future. Reach out to us if you have anything, questions related to All Things REI. And if you have any deals in Windsor that you want to bring to us, which me and Jeremy are buying, we'd love to help you out, or at least be your consultants, or Jeremy could sell your property if need be. We're your boots on the ground here in Windsor. So we love real estate, and that's why I do this podcast as well, to inform you guys and provide value. Whoops. Jeremy, any last words before I sign off?
Hope you have a good night and enjoy your weekend.
Beautiful. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.